Okay, we're back. Now it's time to start piecing together some of the class functions. And we're going to be writing two functions right now. The first one's going to be the constructor, and then we're going to piece together the operation function. And we're not going to really have it working 100%. We're just going to be running it through some tests just to make sure the data is getting through. So open up Calculator, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to make a couple of these so that we can just keep the functions separate from one another. And now we're going to write the operation. Actually, I take that back. We're going to write the constructor. So to write the constructor, I'm going to scroll down. So the class is going to be gone, but on your text document, the text shouldn't be as big, so you'll be able to have it all on one screen. I'm going to scroll down here to line 24, and I'm going to type capital Calc, calc. So now I've defined the constructor, and I'm going to copy these three lines that I made, and there. So now I have the calc constructor all nice and isolated. And there's going to be two things that it's going to be doing. When we first declare something of the calc data type, we're going to set the stack spot equal to 0. And we're also going to be initializing the number. The constant accumulating number is going to be equal to 0 as well. So I'm going to save that. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to type int calc space operation, and I believe that's the same. I'm going to just copy and paste just to make sure, and we see that it's expecting a string data type. So what we're going to do is we're going to be passing it string, and we're going to call this n. And I'm going to copy these and put it below it. So now we have our operation function sitting here waiting for data. Excellent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cout test. That's all it's going to do right now. Save this, come back to the main.cpp, and now let's erase where we wrote test before. So right below the system clear, what we're going to do is we're going to declare calc a semicolon, save it, and then come back to the terminal and and run g++. Okay, so basically all that we did is we've declared something of the calc data type. We've called the variable a. So now we can actually interact with the program. So I'm going to type a dot operation. A dot operation, capital O, and inside the function I'm just going to pass it the letter A. Just it's garbage data. Close that there. So now what should happen is when the function operation is ran, inside here what it's going to do is it's going to come here and it's going to print out the word test. So let's make sure this is saved. Go back to main.cpp, make sure that is saved. Come back to the terminal, press up, run it. Now just as before, /a.out. Run it. Yes. So the program is working fine. So the next thing I'm just gonna erase this little test that we had. And just like the flowchart we had before, I'm gonna make a couple of initial checks. I'm gonna say if n equals sqrt, which is gonna be a command. If it's a square root, we're going to do something. We're going to run the square root function, which is not declared yet. We are going to increase the stack spot. Actually, hold on a second. We're going to cout sqrt. There. So that'll just test to see if it's working. Then we'll do else if n equals clear. So if n equals clear, cout clear, line return. Alrighty. So these are the two main commands that we're going to be looking for. Save that. Press up, run this. Press up 2 times and compile it again. Press up twice and run it again. Alright. It didn't do anything, and that's my fault. In the C program here, we're going to have to get some data. So we're going to write a quick while loop. Actually, I take that back. We're going to declare a string variable. We're going to do string s, and we're going to declare this to be equal to, it doesn't really matter, q, just the sentinel value. So that in a loop we could do while s does not equal exit. This would be a command to leave the program. Do this. So we're gonna encase the A operation inside here. So we're gonna take in, let's see here, type command, or we'll just do something like this. Math. Looks very nice. And then right next to this we'll do cin s, and then this should work. So what this should do is we're going to type in stuff, and it's going to send it over to the operation. Actually, we have to erase this, and we're not going to send it A, we're going to send it S. So this is going to send the value of S over into the client, into the class code, and it's going to run it from, it's going to take S from the client code, put it into the class code, and it should print out to us what we're asking it to. So if we type in sqrt, it should print this out. So let's test that. Up, enter. And I'm going to press up 2 times again to get a dot out. So now we have our little math prompt here. I'm going to type sqrt and prints it out. Clear, it types it out, and just write garbage. It does nothing. Type exit. Aha, we're back to the prompt. Perfect. So I'm going to come back into my calculator here, and I'm going to erase the data that I put here, and I'm going to send this, if it equals square root, go to the square root function. Also set the stack spot equal to 1, and then go back to the main program. So that's what that's going to do. Okay, so now if it equals clear, we're going to go to the clear function and go back to the main program. Now let's continue our crusade of if statements here. Else, if stack spot equals 0, so if we're pointing at the first element in the stack. Alright, we have this already planned out, so we already know what we're going to type here. This is why planning is always a good thing to do. We're going to change the stack spot, and this array element is going to equal the conversion string to float of n. So this is going to equal the string value. This is going to equal the float value of n, and it's going to put that in spot 0. So I'm actually going to put 0 in there. And now stack spot plus plus. Alright, and then we're going to set number equal to stack 0. So the constantly accumulating number, which is never going to change its data type, is going to be equal to what just came in. And the reason I'm not going to make it equal to this is because that's just overhead. Save. Else, if stack spot equals 1. Alright, if stack spot equals 1, what we're going to do is, since it's coming in as a string, we're going to put a coded number for our arithmetic. So inside here we're going to have some nested if statements. I'm going to write if n equals plus, and I'm going to copy this and go to the next line and do else, and just bear with me. So it's going to be plus, minus, multiply, divide. So if n equals plus, n is going to then equal our code number 1, which is going to be division. Which is going to be addition. Now, if n equals minus, n will then equal our little code number 2. If it's multiplication, n will equal 3. And if it's division, n will equal 4. Alright. Once it runs through that and it assigns the plus, minus, multiplication, or division a digital number, we're going to place that into the stack. So we're going to do stack spot we're going to do stack spot equals the string to float value of n, which is going to be the value of one of these. So this is going to actually be changed into a number. And then we're going to increment stack spot. So we can copy it, paste it, plus plus semicolon. Save the file. We have one more condition that we have to make sure that we take care of here. And this is else if stack spot equals 2. So if it equals 2, this is going to be the one we're going to send it off to the equal function. So we're going to do stack spot, which is 2. And just to limit confusion, what I'll do is, first off, I'm going to make this that. I'm going to make this a 2. So stack spot 2 is going to equal the string to float value of n. And then we're going to send it off to the equal function. And we're going to set the stack spot equal to 1. So even though there might be a few coding errors in here, I hope that we can type this line for line together. That way when I have to go back and change things, I could just refer to a line number. So this should be the operation function. Now if I try to compile this, I'm going to come up with many errors. So I'm going to come into the console here and press the up arrow twice and press enter. It's telling me that I don't have stuff that I need. So these functions haven't been declared yet. So I'm going to declare these functions and not actually code them, and when we come back into the next one, we're going to code them. So the first one it refers to is the square root function. So I'm going to just go back into my calc here. And let's see, I think square root is a void. So I'm going to type this. Void calc square root. And I'm going to put space there to make it look prettier. And then just give it a block. Copy my divider. Paste it. Go to line 83. And now it wants calc clear. So I'm going to just copy this. It'll save me valuable seconds. Do void calc clear. I'll worry about spacing later when I come back to code them. Copy this. Paste it. Continuing on line number 90. String to float. I'm going to copy this half of it. Right click, copy. Of course you could type this yourself. Void string to float. And this is going to be string, we'll just call it S for now. That's just going to stand for string. Copy, and I made a mistake. This isn't a void. This is a double function. And we'll block it off. Continue on line number 97. And I don't think we've done equal yet. Let me just scroll up to make sure. No, we didn't. So we're going to do void calc : equal. Give it some space. Copy my little divider here. And voila. Let's see what the compiler says now. Save. Now I'm going to press the up arrow once, try to compile it, and it actually compiled. it's not going to do anything. Like for instance, if I do ./a.out and then I type sqrt, what it actually is going to do is it's going to come here. It's going to be true. It's going to go to the square root function. It's going to come here and do absolutely nothing. But what we can do is we can test to see what the stack spot is before and after it enters in here. So we'll do cout stack spot end line, and then I'll do that again after we do =1 save. This is just to test to make sure that it comes in here. And Control C, I'm going to exit the program, recompile it, press up twice, press enter, press up 2 times again and run it. sqrt. So it starts at 0, ends at 1. So sometime in between that, it would do something. So we can do exit. Alright. And we're going to cut it here. We're going to come back and we're going to start coding some more of the class functions.